He takes his time. He doesn't take too much time, but he takes his time, and he doesn't get rattled by anything around him. I think that's his Olympic experience, as well as what his coach, Adam Soldati, does with him. Adam and his wife, Kimiko, co-coach. Adam's the head coach. Kimiko is the volunteer assistant at Purdue, and they are an incredibly good team together. And David Boudia has a wonderful feel for the end of the springboard on this dive. This is fabulous. He had over a 20-point lead. He will increase it.
In the nines, a very good dive from the Purdue sophomore. Senior Terry Horner from Florida State, 5th in the 3-meter last year for the Seminoles.
Terry Horner has the most difficult list of dives, and there's his coach, Patrick Jeffrey, who has been a very good influence on Terry Horner. He's kept him under control. Terry has this ability to spin as fast, if not faster, than anybody in the world. And he can get out of control because of all that speed and power that he has. And Patrick said, I want to see him see his 3rd spot in this back 3.5. No other male doing this dive in the contest, and kick his legs out of the tuck position first. Terry's in 2nd right now. And he does kick his legs first. He does. You know, Patrick told me he has a little bit of a tendency to come out early with his upper body instead of staying in and looking at the water there before he kicks out. But he's very patient there, kicks out beautifully. This should keep him in 2nd place. He won't go ahead of David Boudia, but this takeoff, arms above his head, and his spotting ability, using his visual references.
Great story. This guy has come charging onto the scene. A freshman at Duke, Nick McCrory. So much composure in his first year on the scene. He's won consistently at Duke, making it a big deal there. And he talks about putting Duke diving, the importance of that, as it's back on the map.
He really is revolutionizing diving at Duke because their program has had such a shot of adrenaline with Drew Johansson, the coach there. And it is just amazing to see a freshman like Nick McCrory, the only freshman in the finals doing so well, is in 5th place. It's a forward 2.5 with 2 twists. He has a great rip entry, that sound, which kind of sounds like ripping Velcro apart. And he's very clean going in the water. Now he holds this dive just slightly short of vertical. It's still going to be in the very good range, which means from 8.5 to 10 is the very good range. So this is a huge dive for Nick McCrory. Very good.
9.5 high, 8 for a low, but right there in that very good category you talked about. Standings after 5 rounds. David Boudia of Purdue has the lead. Terry Horner from Florida State 2nd. Duke's Nick McCrory is 3rd as we get ready for the 6th round. Grant Nell from Texas A&M, the All-American, the Australian, here in round 6.
And it is very close. He needs to do one of his best dives here to put the pressure on the top 3. He and Nick McCrory are only about 4 points apart right now. Grant Nell trying to be one of the top 3 divers on this forward 2.5 with 2 twists. Jay LaRue performs every dive with his divers. Even though he's sitting in the chair, he's doing these dives. And Grant Nell has a beautiful takeoff, reaches up above his head, and he looks at the water nicely. This should pay off beautifully, and it will put the pressure on Nick McCrory to come up with a great dive.
So Nell delivers.
The final diver.
Here's the defending NCAA champion, David Boudia from Purdue. He also is the 1-meter champ here in Columbus.
David Boudia, his father Jim, videoing every dive he does in these NCAAs. David Boudia just needs to stay steady here. He will be 2/3 of the way to history, maybe completing the win on all 3 boards. If he could win the platform contest, which is his best event, and this forward 2.5 with 2 twists is huge. He goes way up above the board, just starting to slide past vertical, but no problem. He will win this contest easily. He didn't receive a score below a 6.5, and he only had 1 of those in the whole contest. All of his dives above 70 points. Amazing.
So you could be looking at the champion right there in 3-meter, the Purdue Boilermaker. Here's the final dive of the 3-meter competition. Nick McCrory, the freshman phenom from Duke.
And here's the scenario. David Boudia has already won the contest. Grant Nell from Texas A&M sitting in second right now. Nick McCrory needs more 8s than 7.5s to be second. And I think it's going to be close. He lost his feet. They came apart. As you're going to see in this twisting dive, his feet come apart. Depends on what the judges feel about that right there. His feet come apart and go right back together. If they give it 8, 8.5 or above, he's in second for sure. And there's his dad, Doug, who is a Duke alum from 1982, and he does it.
Couple 9s and 8.5s, and Nick McCrory, what a freshman year for the Duke product. He takes second.
Great job.
So the final results of the 3-meter diving. David Boudia, the sophomore from Purdue, sets a new NCAA record, winning the event, followed by Nick McCrory, the Duke freshman, and then Grant Nell in 3rd place from Texas A&M. Rowdy Gaines is with the champion.
David, first of all, congratulations. You know, Cynthia talked a lot about your maturity over the last couple of years. Was that part of this whole process on that 3-meter?
Definitely. If I look back at my diving career, I definitely see that this point is a breaking point, and it's exciting to be able to go out there and just dive for my school and dive for the crowd.
Now, have you thought about history now? It's been 22 years since a diver has won all 3. Have you thought about the next round of this platform?
Well, I mean, it's not in my hands, it's in God's hands, and whatever happens will happen, and I'm just going to go out there and compete and not worry about where I'm going to place.